Did you know that some U.S. states are facing conditions so extreme they're driving residents out in waves? From rising debts and struggling economies to worsening natural disasters and social crises, these states are experiencing a kind of collapse that's hard to ignore. Today, we'll take a countdown tour of the 10 fastest collapsing states in the United States for 2024. So buckle up and stay with us until the end, because we've saved a shocking fact about what's really pushing these states over the edge. You won't want to miss it. Number 10, Illinois. Illinois is in serious trouble, primarily because of financial mismanagement. Data from Statista shows that the state's debt-to-GDP ratio stands alarmingly high at 17.53%, which has created a heavy financial burden on residents. High property and income taxes are forcing people to leave Illinois, and it's estimated that tens of thousands have already moved to other states in search of a more affordable life. To make things worse, Illinois' public services, especially education, are struggling. Nearly half of the budget for state universities goes toward pension obligations, driving tuition fees up and pushing enrollment rates down. Meanwhile, a staggering $142 billion in unfunded pension liabilities hangs over the state, with only about 45% of the needed resources to meet future obligations. This underfunding has dropped Illinois' credit rating to the lowest in the country, making it harder and more expensive for the state to borrow money. Illinois also faces serious health crises. The opioid epidemic has taken hold here, with thousands of overdose fatalities reported each year, impacting communities and straining the healthcare system. Combined with frequent natural disasters, like tornadoes and severe storms, Illinois is in a vulnerable position that makes living here increasingly difficult. Number 9, California. California was once a place where people went to chase dreams, but the reality has turned harsh for many who live there. The state's position on the Pacific Ring of Fire means it's at high risk for earthquakes, and with aging infrastructure, the potential for disasters grows each year. Dam failures, wildfires, droughts. California faces these environmental threats regularly, and the impact is significant. Climate change has only worsened droughts, causing extreme water shortages and frequent power outages as the electrical grid struggles to keep up with demand. The cost of living in California is sky high. Housing prices are nearly double the national average, and in cities like San Francisco, Zillow estimated that rent for a one-bedroom apartment averages around $3,000. Even daily living expenses are much higher than elsewhere in the U.S., forcing many residents to question whether staying is worth it. The homelessness crisis only adds to the social strain, with many people unable to afford even basic necessities. With one of the highest tax rates in the country, California's residents are feeling the squeeze. Economically, the collapse of major institutions, like the Silicon Valley Bank, has created waves of financial instability. And while California is known for innovation, these economic challenges make it hard for many to survive. Number 8, New York. New York, and especially New York City, might be known for its skyscrapers and fast-paced life, but behind the glamour lies serious trouble. Crime rates in the city have been rising steadily, and household debt is at an all-time high. Banks are struggling under increased funding costs and an unstable real estate market, making it harder for young people to afford housing or even qualify for loans. Residents in New York bear the highest state and local taxes in the nation, taking nearly 16% of their income, according to Tax Foundation. The result, over 300,000 people left New York in a single year, creating a steady stream of outmigration that shows no sign of slowing down. Natural disaster risks are another concern. The threat of coastal flooding and major earthquakes looms constantly, especially with many of the city's buildings not meeting modern safety standards. New York's financial stability and dense population make it a ticking time bomb. If you're finding this list eye-opening, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more updates on places that are changing fast and what it means for you. And make sure you stick around to the end of this video. We have a surprising bonus fact that puts everything into perspective. Number 7, New Jersey. New Jersey once offered an appealing lifestyle, being close to major cities like New York and Philadelphia. But now, this appeal is fading fast. New Jersey has the highest average property taxes in the U.S., with most households paying around $10,000 annually. Additionally, Tax Foundation also noted that income tax rates are close to 11%, which leaves residents feeling financially squeezed. Financially, the state is teetering on the edge, with debt levels surpassing 100% of total personal income. New Jersey's pension system is also severely underfunded, with billions in liabilities and only 40% of the funds necessary to meet future needs. This is a problem that won't go away and could result in even higher taxes. On the healthcare front, the state faces a rising maternal mortality rate and a serious opioid crisis. Combined with the risks of coastal flooding from climate change, New Jersey's outlook is bleak. Number 6. Connecticut. Connecticut is facing a crisis that affects every resident. According to CT Insider, the cost of living here is high, with home prices soaring above $300,000 and property taxes add to the burden. Income taxes range from 5% to 7%, and residents struggle with a tax burden close to 13.3%, making Connecticut one of the most financially oppressive states. Economically, Connecticut is stagnant, with a GDP that barely moved for nearly 2 decades. The cold winters and shrinking population add further strain, as more people leave for states with better job prospects. Connecticut's infrastructure is another weak point, with roads, bridges, and public transportation all in need of repair. Without massive investments, Connecticut's problems will only grow. Number 5. Louisiana. Louisiana's troubles are a mix of environmental disasters and social challenges. The state faces frequent hurricanes and devastating storms, particularly along the stretch of the Mississippi River known as Cancer Alley. This area is notorious for pollution from industrial plants, leading to high cancer rates and severe health impacts on local communities. In 2021, Louisiana had the 8th highest age-adjusted cancer incidence rate at 479.9 per 100,000 people. That's 40.9% higher than the national average, according to U.S. cancer statistics. Louisiana's housing market is also in crisis, with insurance premiums climbing to unaffordable levels, especially after hurricane damages. For many, homeownership is slipping out of reach. Poverty remains high, with nearly 1 in 5 residents living below the poverty line. Education is another area where Louisiana lags, with students struggling to meet national standards. Number 4. Kentucky. In Kentucky, poverty and public health issues create an ongoing struggle for residents. Louisville Public Media highlighted that around 16.5% of Kentuckians live below the poverty line, and obesity and opioid addiction are major health challenges. Kentucky has one of the highest overdose death rates in the country, stretching healthcare resources thin. Educational opportunities are limited, with only about a quarter of adults holding a college degree. Underfunded public schools leave students with few options for a better future, and the state's infrastructure is failing, with roads and bridges needing serious repairs. Kentucky's history of coal mining has left environmental scars that still impact communities today. Number 3. Mississippi. Mississippi faces some of the deepest social and economic challenges in the country. Nearly 20% of its residents live in poverty. A 2023 report shows that the median household income in Mississippi amounted to $55,060. Its median household income is far below the national average. Healthcare access is limited, with rural hospitals closing and a significant portion of the population uninsured. Education is another area of concern, with low high school graduation rates and underfunded schools. Natural disasters frequently strike Mississippi, adding stress to the crumbling infrastructure. Deep racial and economic divides also make it difficult for effective governance to take root, slowing any chance for meaningful reform. Number 2. Alaska. Alaska's remote location makes it both beautiful and challenging to live in. The state relies heavily on oil and gas for revenue, which leaves it vulnerable to fluctuations in those markets. The high cost of living and limited accessibility make life here hard, especially for those in remote areas. Data gathered by Merrick 2022 ranked Alaska as the state with the 6th highest cost of living. To put a number on it, the average total personal consumption cost in Alaska is $54,331 per year, according to 2021 data from the Bureau of Economic Analysis. Alaska's harsh climate also brings challenges like extreme weather, high suicide rates, and limited access to health care. The population is shrinking as people leave for warmer, more affordable areas, and the state's lack of economic diversity means there's little to draw people back. Number 1. West Virginia. West Virginia takes the top spot on our list of collapsing states. Its economy, once reliant on coal mining, has not recovered, and the job market remains bleak. Public health is in crisis, with high addiction rates and poor access to healthcare services. Educational attainment is low, with few people holding college degrees, limiting job prospects and deepening poverty. Outmigration is common as residents leave to find work elsewhere, draining the state's workforce and tax base. New estimates show 736,556 people live in Alaska, but more people moved out of the state than arrived for a 10th consecutive year. West Virginia's infrastructure is deteriorating, and its political and social divides add to the challenge of addressing these issues. For many residents, the future looks uncertain. Here's that bonus fact we promised. Did you know that there's a single common thread across all these states driving their decline? The answer lies in the intersecting issues of economic inequality, poor infrastructure, and environmental vulnerabilities. As these factors build on one another, they make it nearly impossible for any state to recover without massive changes. And there you have it, folks, the 10 fastest collapsing states in America for 2024. These states are facing serious issues that could make living in them a daily challenge. Thanks for joining us on this journey. And remember, understanding these problems is the first step toward finding solutions. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, subscribe, and press the bell icon.